Radio, hi. Welcome back to more recap stuff. So everybody in the chat room, hey, you in Discord? Of course I'm in Discord. We're gonna watch a Gloomy House. I know that Phil is a big fan of Goofy. This is especially strange and creepy. Just check this out. Where is it, chat? I want to make sure the chat is up. There we go. Never mind, it was from a movie. Oh, excuse me. So Hotel Ghost once, and I was going to try to find it again. Oh dear. All right, Gloomy House. Goofy and his disturbing Facebook profile. Just imagine if there was a real life Goofy. Just imagine if Phil actually dressed up like Goofy. Recording stuff. All right.
Extremely careful of who we run into. Over the last week, a very bizarre Facebook profile began going viral. It isn't just the extreme discomfort of his Goofy mask or the unnerving facial expressions of his costumes. Some of the visitors testify that he is also a psychopath, the reason being that he has taken advantage of his recent popularity to sexually harass young women on Facebook.
Oh, so he's an incel.
This is extremely unsettling now that his Facebook page contains a photo of a girl holding a paper note with his name. After doing some research, I came to find out that it is indeed a false Facebook profile, but bear with me because the man behind the photo hides an extremely bizarre story.
Uh-oh.
His nickname is Sammy Catnipnik, a username that if googled will link you to a profile which is not on Facebook, but rather on a pornographic website Xtube. His profile identifies him as a man with many fetishes, lover of masks, voyeurism,
FetLife
lover, and a fanatic of having sexual intercourse
Oh,
with
he's a
strange and
furry.
bizarre creatures.
Ha! You got
The
fursona?
man indulges in his sexual desires while dressed up in extremely bizarre suits, from animals to Goofy to the devil.
You're like, what the fuck you do? You all like suck my dick and shit? Oh damn! They're gonna tickle me.
Dog, you seeing this?
What this all means is that the man's photos actually hold a much more bizarre meaning than just a Goofy mask, something that is very deceptive.
How dare
to
you
many children
sully
who flock
the
to his
name,
Facebook profile.
soil the name of Goofy.
As of now, the Facebook page in question has been terminated, but several replicas still exist, a true testimony to the dark horizon of the internet.
The torture of his whippings. I want everything from my lord and master in my lover.
Oh, I know what he's doing there.
If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the
That's crazy. Go to Gloomy House. His accent and his videos are quite frightening. What else? It kind of scares. It scares me to no end. Watching his videos are pretty intense. It's like along with this channel and also Rainbot and Nightmare Expo. Dude, the only thing that's worse than ghosts is home intruders. I'm telling you, this is gonna give you goosebumps.
Today will be a grim reminder of the reality that surrounds us, a reality that can haunt us in what we consider the safety of our home. These are 4 horrifying home intruders caught on video. 2 teenagers can be seen entering the home through an open back door, heading straight for the...
Oh, the Mandela effect?
Topic twice in my
I think
video.
so. Mandela effect. Oh, is it like Pizzagate or something? Isn't that true? It's the no. Isn't the Mandela effect like Yanni or Laurel or a blue or green dress or anything? This is so stupid, bro. Yeah. Allowance, copyright disclaimer under Section 107, Copyright Act 1976.
The mind can prove to be a very interesting place. At this very moment in time, your entire memory is based upon what you perceive has happened to
I have
you. But
returned.
have you ever considered if any of your memories are false? Or even, what if the reality that you have experienced is
Yeah, it's like
different from the
eyewitness
norm?
testimonies.
Is there even a norm? Today, we're going to be discussing some interesting topics and theories surrounding the Mandela
You hear it so
effect.
many times, you just automatically assume that it's fact.
To begin, I want to present to you some background on the Mandela effect and why it matters. Nelson Mandela is the late former president of South Africa. He served in office from May
kinda
10th,
sucks that it's
1994
named after
to
him.
June 14th, 1999, and was the first elected president of the country. 14 years later, on December 5th, 2013, Mandela passed away at age 95 in his home in South Africa due to a respiratory infection. It is very unfortunate, but all in all, this is nothing out of the ordinary, right? Well,
Or
maybe
he
not.
was
Shortly
assassinated.
after his death, when word spread of his passing, thousands of people all over the nation were shocked. They thought that he was already dead and had passed away in prison in the 1980s.
What?
Furthermore, they could even describe how he died, claiming it was due to tuberculosis. Now, there are many claims that people vividly remember seeing coverage of his death on television. If this
What?
were a small group
So
of
is Wolfie
people, then
XA.
it would be
Welcome
that
back.
out of the ordinary.
Mandela
However,
effect.
the amount of
Mandela effect is a collective misremembering of a fact or event.
people that believe this are in the thousands, and all of them still swear by the fact that he passed in the 1980s. Curious, I began some research. Why do people so vividly remember his death in the 1980s? The first thing that comes to mind is a misreport in the news. Even today across the country, we are faced with a fake news problem that many social
Yeah, you guys know that MartinLutherKing.com is owned by a white supremacist group, and they put it together to make a propaganda against Nelson Mandela, not Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King. Right there, we don't need that. Man, that's messed, dude.
networks and companies are trying to resolve. While things are a
But
lot
I
different now
remember
than they
Nelson
were
Mandela getting out of prison. I remember the fact that he got out of prison and he became the president of president of Africa, or whatever it is.
in the 1980s. A
I
false
remember-
news report still
I remember. Yes, even
could have
what
happened,
Morgan
leading
Freeman played him in a movie or something.
thousands of people who saw the broadcast to believe that reality. Another theory that comes to mind is what's now called the Mandela effect. This idea stemmed from the very fact that people
Guys, this is
misremembered
crazy.
Mandela's death, and it's the idea that what we remember is different from what reality actually was. There are actually multiple other examples of this, with the most popular ones being the Bernstein Bears controversy, the spelling of
My
fruit loops with
inauguration
trees, and the
was the
Monopoly guy
biggest
named
of
Mr.
all
Pennybags
time.
having a
So
monocle.
much-
These are
so
all
many
examples that
people.
have come to attention following Mandela's death, and theories behind these themselves are numerous. Diving deeper seems to present even more questions than answers. A popular theory
Workshop
for this
Discord,
is
yeah,
that
when
maybe
you're
at certain
cool.
points in time, our reality collides with another, and instantaneously, without thought, we begin to exist in the other. A date that many people think this most recently happened was in 2012, coincidentally a year before Mandela had passed away
I didn't
in
do
our
this.
reality, and there are
It's
claims
not
as to why.
true.
People are stating that after 2012, time seems to be passing faster than before. They believe that time itself in the pre-2012 reality was more wholesome and felt much longer than this current perception of time.
I was just talking about yesterday how, like during dinner, the fact that what we have now is progressing so fast, and 10 years from now, when my children are, or if I have children, when I have children, the world is going to be different, because 10 years ago, the world was it was almost completely different. You got to think about it right now. It's 2018. In 2008, the first smartphone came out. Not a lot of people had the smartphone. It was very expensive. It didn't have a Wi-Fi set up to it. It was like the iPhone 3. YouTube just started its monetization plan. There was no such thing as live streaming on any website. Maybe it was the birth of, or close to, of Justin.tv and livestream.com or .net or whatever it's called. PewDiePie probably had less than 1,000 followers. Nobody knew who Keemstar was, or Leafy, or Ninja, or Dr. Disrespect. I just got out of the military. What else? Landline phones were still a thing. People still listened to CD players. And then 10 years before that, oh my gosh, it's like satellite TVs and cable is the only thing, and radio is king. And the fact that CD players were expensive. It's just progressively goes faster and faster and faster. Midori posted right there, the BuzzFeed right here. 20 examples of the Mandela effect that make you believe you're in a parallel universe. Oh dear gosh. There. Hold on a second. There. All right. It's an unexplained phenomenon you'll probably experience without knowing what it is called. Guardian Morts. Oscar Myers isn't spelled that way. What? Huh? Oscar Mayer. It's not spelled Meyer. It's Mayer. It's actually a famous brand. Oscarmayer. My baloney has a first name. It's Oscar. My baloney has a second name. It's Mayer. Yeah. It makes sense. The show isn't called Sex in the City. Oh, in the city. Oh, Sex and the City. Oh, shit. Okay, We Are the Champions by Queen ends differently than many recall. We are the champions of the world. There is no of the world. What? The song just ends? It's driving people crazy because they're 100% sure that they've heard it otherwise. People think that Monopoly Man, Rich Uncle Pennybags, has a monocle, but he doesn't. Interesting. The tip of Pikachu's tail isn't black. The Bernstein Bears are actually called the Berenstain Bears. Curious George never had a tail? Huh? Chick-fil-A is not spelled Chick-fil-A. It's called Chick... Is that spelled Chick... What? Darth Vader doesn't say, Luke, I am your father.
I am your father.
Interesting. CPO isn't a C3PO. Mr. Rogers' theme song opening line is different than people remember. Yeah, I totally noticed that when I was watching the movie yesterday. Okay. People think the Mona Lisa is smiling, but she used to be emotionless. Yeah, he says, no, I'm your father. Yeah. Kit Kat doesn't have a dash. No, I knew that. People remember a Sinbad Genie movie from the 90s, but what? Huh? It's Shaq. It's Shaq with Kazam. Yep. Okay. Yeah. It's Shaq. Life isn't like a box of chocolates. It seems like the majority of people confidently remember stating his mama says life is like a bunch of chocolates, but it turns out he actually said life was like a box of chocolates, despite. Hannibal Lecter never says hello, Clarice. Interview with a Vampire isn't called Interview with the Vampire. It's called Interview with. Okay. Top shirts, remember in this show tell. The Queen and the Snow White never said mirror, mirror on the wall. Jiffy Peanut Butter doesn't. Huh? Jiffy Peanut Butter doesn't exist? Jiffy had us certainly embedded in the minds, but even spotted American Dad having campaign. Mother's not snacking a Jiffy. What? Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops is actually spelled Fruit Loops. Dude, Midori, you just blew my mind. I'm sufficiently blown away. So that's the Mandela effect, I guess, guys. Take what you will. It is pretty crazy.